Hello, this is Tom, aka Jedio here. I'm with Victor Dorso, the admin, organizer, owner of DaveCon.
That is correct. How are you?
I'm good. It's finally it's nice to meet this way because we've largely just texted back and forth for months now.
Oh, yeah, a little while.
So DaveCon is coming up next year, and I heard that you had some interesting news. But why don't you tell us a little bit about DaveCon, what it is, where it's located, and what you can expect by attending it?
Okay. DaveCon was originally started after Dave Arneson died in, I don't remember the year he died here. Is at least 10 years ago. But it was started by a gentleman by the name of Burl Zorn. He's a manager up at the Source Comic and Games in Roseville, Minnesota. It was basically a game where the original members of the Blackmore group that played with Dave Arneson got together once a year and had a memorial game at the Source. And up until about 3-4 years ago, it was a regular thing. And then, or maybe 5, I'm not for sure in this, but Burl said to me one day after I was up there playing, I played a regular game up there with him. And he says, if you want to take over DaveCon, be my guest. So hence where we're at right now.
Okay.
And so I took over DaveCon after COVID, because during COVID, of course, I was sitting there going, okay, boredom reigns. I gotta think of something to do. And using all the extra time I had, I went out and started DaveCon. And first year was in Roseville, Minnesota at the Doubletree Hotel. Next year is at the Sheridan in Bloomington, Minnesota. And what else can we say? I invite all the Blackmore crew, every one of them I can find, to come. They've all got free tickets to come to the game. And
Nice.
I've thrown out invitations to a bunch more. I'm working on some Hollywood types right now. I'm trying to get to come. Invitations are going out. Don't have any for sure's right now, but I'm trying my best to get in, to bring in even more people so that the game doesn't die. First edition, I focus on first edition, those older games. I don't want them to die. I don't want them to watch. I don't want to see 5E. And 5E is a fine game in itself if you like that type of game, but I don't want to see it shuffled off into the unknown, put in the what do you want to call it, the nursing home of games. If you want to call it that, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, eventually we're all going to be in nursing homes telling the nurses' aides, in my day, Mimics did a total party kill and we liked it.
Yes. I joke with my girlfriend once in a while. I say, well, I'm going to be the guy in the wheelchair blasting AC/DC in my earphones, rolling around, looking for another game to play,
Yeah. Now, this past year, I know that DaveCon had a theme of trying to bring the two camps.
Yes, unification.
The unification, and I thought that was just smart because I don't like the whole. I find edition wars tedious. Look, play what the hell you like. And so how did this unification theme? How well did it go? Was it well received?
Well, let me tell you some stories.
Sure. We like stories.
Well, the first detractor of the whole unification theme was, it started out here in Minnesota as detractors were the, how do you want to call this? And I want to be politically correct here. Or sort of somewhat correct. It was a group of local Minnesota people that got butthurt over me inviting Ernie Gygax, Tim Cast. Uh, I invited David Wesley and the entire Blackmore crew, and who is he? God darn it, Frank Metzer. I invited Frank Metzer. Oh my God, the people that came out of the woodwork and poo-pooed it at the start, and then the creator of Secrets of Blackmore, Griff Morgan, poo-pooed it because he wanted to put on his own convention, and he was really mad about this because I had went out and done the legwork. I found the convention venue. I did everything.
You were organized.
Before I announced it. I mean, I was on the ball. I had the convention organized and everything within, I would say, about 2.5 weeks. I just went out and I started making phone calls. I got it all done. And I announced it on the Grog Talk podcast at GrogCon down in Orlando. And oh my God, the vitriol of the whole thing was amazing.
Wow.
And they're like, Tim Cass called Dave Arneson an asshole or whatever. It was like, you do realize this is 1978, 980. I mean, we're talking 40 plus years ago this happened, right? And sure, they had edition wars back then. I mean, there was the Blackmore gang versus the Dungeons and Dragons game. But I read, and I don't know where the book is. I had it down here in my office somewhere. I read the John Peterson book, the latest John Peterson book, which, basically flat out stated that Gary and Arneson buried the hatchet way back when. They got a bunch of money each, and that was the end of it. So I'm looking at this, and I'm getting, and I'm here in Minneapolis, so I'm getting all of this dirt and information. I'm getting it from the Blackmore crew. I'm getting it from the great Gygax crew and everything else. And I'm like, y'all are idiots. Really? You guys are fighting over little bits of turf that the average gamer really doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? They just want to sit here and game, and they want to game with all of you. They want to meet their childhood heroes or the guys they looked up to. Their how do you want to say this? Their idols, for lack of any other word, and they want to be able to game with you and talk to you and find out what the early days of Dungeons and Dragons and Blackmore were like, and play these games that were formative to the industry, And so, my theme was unification. Gary and Arneson might not have liked each other, but they buried the hatchet enough that they could talk to each other at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's done. It's over with. Gary was long gone since TSR. Arneson, he was out teaching at Surf, what's the name of that school down in Orlando, Florida. He was teaching college down there, college classes down there. Everybody,
they moved on.
They made this. And the problem is that people like Griff and other people were using the death and Gary's name and stuff for profit. They are just like, oh, well, I got this little piece of turf now. I have to make as much money as I can off of it. I lost money, or whatever, because I did this thing. And I'm like, you know what? Bury the hatchet, guys. I got crap because Ernie Gygax came to my convention. It was like, oh, Ernie's a racist, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, have you ever called Ernie and talked to him? Have you ever sat down with Ernie and talked to him face to face? Well, no, I got my information from this website or this website. And I'm like, you do realize that that person that wrote that never even talked to Ernie. They got their information second and third hand. If you're getting your information second and third hand, it's like the old childhood game where you'd say one thing in the ear of one child. By the time you get to the fifth child, it turned into something else. Gary Gygax created Dungeons and Dragons on one end, and the other end, Gary Gygax ate dragons at
Yeah.
in a dungeon or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, you guys, come on. So that's the reason unification was the theme of the thing. I brought Ernie Gygax in. I brought David Wesley in. Arguably, Ernie played with his dad more than anybody else. I mean,
yeah.
Let's figure this out. David Wesley is the grand poobah of gaming, as far as I'm concerned. I go over to his house every Wednesday night, and I play different games with him. And he's got more stories. If you've ever sat with David Wesley, he could fill a 5-hour podcast if you wanted to. And you'd have enough material to last you a year. I mean, but the guy is a fountain of knowledge, and it's great listening to him. But so I brought them all in, and I got Gary Gygax, or Ernie Gygax, and David Wesley together. They both played in each other's games. Ernie had never played in his Braunstein game, which is a progenitor of Blackmore, which Blackmore turned into Dungeons and Dragons, blah, 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 blah.
I would kill to sit in on a Braunstein game.
When you come to Minnesota, I'll get you in a Braunstein game. But because there's 20 slots. Now, here's the thing. If anybody comes to Dave Con, usually Dave runs it twice. One of his Braunstein and one is his Banania. And there's 20 slots available in each game, or even more, because sometimes he'll add characters to it. So, I mean, there's a lot of slots. If you've never been to a gaming convention, but you've been to like Gary Con, where you've tried to get tickets into these games, but you can't. Right. That's not the case at Dave Con. I try to keep it small enough where I can get players into games with.
What's the target level for number of players at Dave Con?
Right. And now this next year it's going to be bigger. I admit that. I gotta sell more tickets because I'm in a bigger hotel, bigger venue.
Right.
But I'm bringing in more guests. So with more guests, I can have a more variety of games. So my thinking is that I'm going to try to get as many people as I can into games that they want to get into.
Right.
Like I would be like, okay, you want to get a Braunstein game? No problem. I'll figure out something because I know how many people that I can get in a game and stuff like that. And you're going to make great pub for me for whatever reason. You're going to be in there. You're going to be in the game, and you're going to go, I went to Dave Con. But anyways, and I'm not going to lie about that. There's no sense in lying to anybody that I have to sell tickets to get this done.
Right.
But yeah, I got Ernie to play in Braunstein. I've got Ernie to play in the first campaign, which was run by Bill Hoyt, which had never been done before. That was the progenitor of. That was one of the original Blackmore games. I got David Wesley to sit in on Ernie Gygax's game. He doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, literally, I was, shuffling around guests into other guest tables to make these first happen. And it was, everybody's like, I get to play with David Wesley and Ernie Gygax in a game. Well, okay. And at one point I had Ernie Gygax, Bill Hoyt, and David Wesley all sitting in the first campaign game. So it was,
when I heard about last year's con and the theme being unification and that you're bringing all these people in, I was involved in a little bit of a controversy, which you're well aware of, and most of my listeners are well aware of, involving a company that Ernie is associated with. But when I heard about it, I thought this is really good because it's not about Ernie as a person. It's about Ernie representing a certain camp.
Right. And that's what it totally was.
So for me, unification and burying hatchets in the community is good. Now, other stuff with Ernie personal, that he's got to own that.
Right.
That's why I liked what you did.
Yeah. And I've sat down and talked to Ernie. I mean, literally, I have sat down many hours and talked to Ernie about those allegations and stuff. And once again, it's third person writing a story about something that they said Ernie said, and they took it out of context. You know what I mean? It's it is flabbergasting. And I keep telling Ernie to write something to counter all this, make a press statement, do something. But Ernie is not, I don't know who's advising Ernie, but I've told Ernie many a times to do something to, to stem this tide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I think somebody we're going to call them Lanonymous.
Lanasty?
Lanonymous. My wife coined that name.
Okay, well, we each have our own way of acknowledging that.
Is advising him, and so I don't think anything's going to change there for a little bit. And but moving right along, I mean, looking forward to the new next year's Dave Con. You're going bigger.
Yep.
I heard a rumor, something involving. You've got a guest coming to run.
Mike Carr is coming next year, and Mike Carr, for the first time, might be, and he's already said this on another podcast. He said he's in favor of doing it, going to run B1 and be the narrator for it and weave the tale while another dungeon master runs the combat tables and stuff, because Mike's not familiar with that. He's also going to be running Don't Give Up the Ship. And if anybody knows what that is even predates. Yeah, he's running that in my Legends of RPG. I call it the Legends of RPG room, which I'm setting aside one entire room for people like that to run games. So it's like, okay, if you're looking for that game, go to this room, because Dungeons and Dragons first edition, second edition will be in one room, fifth edition will be in another. At Dave Con, I'm having a room of vendors and a hallway of artists, and I'm going to have another section completely that way I got for free from the hotel. It's going to be for open gaming and demo games. People, industry people that are coming in, they're going to be demoing the brand new games and stuff like that at these tables until 9:00 at night. At 9:00, that's the cutoff at these tables. But
right,
we're going to be able to demo those games out there for people. So if, like, you're a late ticket buyer or something, there's going to be something for you to do. It's not going to be like, oh, I bought these tickets, I didn't sign up for any games, there's no games to play. Well, that wasn't the case at the first Dave Con. It's not going to be the case at the second Dave Con, because I purposely in each room leave one table open, and that is for gamers to sit down and wait. And then I tell all my dungeon masters, if you're missing people at your table, or if you need gamers, let me know, or go to this specific table,
right,
which is really in the front of the room, and grab some people and go gaming. I mean, don't, it's be active, be participant, because that's what I did at the first Dave Con. Is anytime I saw anybody sitting around, I was like, do you need a game to play? Do you need a game to play? And I purposely brought them to different games and said, go sit on David Wesley's game, go sit on Ernie's game, go sit on Tom Cass' game, go sit on this game. I purposely shuffled people around so that everybody was gaming as many hours as possible. So, I mean, that's just something I want to see, because I want you to get more bang for your buck. And,
so this sounds like a gamers convention to me.
Right. And I don't have LARPing. I don't have, there is a charity auction, which we do a giveaway for scholarships for kids, in which I bring part of my collection. Last year, I brought about $300-400 worth of my collection, to the thing, and I auctioned it off. And so I try to, I try to do that at 4 o'clock on a Saturday. And usually I try to end all the games at 4 o'clock so everybody can come in, go get a bite to eat. And then I restart gaming at 5 o'clock. So there's 5, 6 until midnight, 5 to midnight. Guys can be gaming. There's a 7-hour window there. They can sit down and game and everything else and
Nice.
and stuff like that. And then, okay, this convention starts out. Let's start out with the convention starts out with a pre-convention dinner. The last pre-convention dinner I had Tim Cast, David Wesley, Ernie Gygax, and who else did I invite? And not Bill Hoy. Bill Hoy couldn't make it, but I had those three and David Wesley. I had all them at the pre-convention dinner. You got to sit down and talk to them. They talked about what was going on in their lives and stuff like that. I had some of my guys that had brand new products coming out. They came to stood up, talked about it, and we had a happy hour dinner thing, and everybody was joyously happy on Thursday. Cut to Friday. We started at 8 a.m. We did gaming. Braunstein was the big game on Friday.
Right.
And Ernie Gygax was after that. And it's Saturday, Tim Cast was there. He did, Tim came in late on Thursday, which was a crying shame because
did his Wheel of Fate thing.
Yeah, Wheel of Fate. He did that. And we did 3 days of gaming. I mean, just except for Saturday at 4 o'clock where I ended all the games. And I said, all right, everybody come in. We're going to do the auction, get something to eat, then go back to what you were doing. And that's what we did. So I just sort of drove the convention so that everybody got as much gaming in as possible. And this year is going to be a little different than last year. It's going to be sort of like I'm going to give some acknowledgments here. I'm going to give some acknowledgments to Gamehole. I'm going to give some acknowledgments to Gary Kahn and all the other conventions I've ever been to. I'm going to give some acknowledgments to them. I purposely stole some ideas from you guys. I saw what works at your conventions, and I saw what didn't work at your conventions, and I sort of said, okay, I'm cutting these out. I'm putting these in, and this is how I'm going to run my convention. One of them was LARPing. I hated LARPing. I saw what kind of a disaster.
Cosplay.
I saw what kind of a disaster it ran into at certain conventions, and I said, no, I'm not dealing with that. So that's why LARPing is not at my convention. But like Gary Kahn has a food sort of tables that are set up for gamers. Well, that's what we're doing, including at my convention, alcohol. So we're going to have booze at the convention, and everybody's going to be able to go, hey, this is, I can go get my beers here, and it's just outside the gaming halls. So you're going to be able to go, hey, I need a root beer, or I need a regular beer. I need this, I need that. Go right out there, get whatever you want, and be right back at your table in 30, 40 seconds or whatever. They are in development for an app for this convention where you can order from your table and you can have it delivered to your table
That's kind of like DoorDash.
Huh?
It's kind of like DoorDash.
Yeah, better than DoorDash, because then you're going to be able to order booze, food, whatever you want. It's going to come right to your table. So it's going to be like, I don't have to miss 40 seconds of Gary Gygax or Ernie Gygax or David Wesley or whoever's talking. I don't miss out on that little bit of information that can make you a winner or
I like that idea.
So we're working on that. Me and the hotel are working on that. So, and then I've got some killer deals. Now I have everything up on Tabletop Events for DaveCon. And if you look at the prices, now some of you might go crazy. You're going to be $800 for 4 days of gaming. That includes all your taxes, your rooms, your pre-convention dinner, your ticket into DaveCon, and all kinds of, and the swag bag and the whole 9 yards. You get all of this in a package.
As a package.
Yeah, and all you got to do is figure out your airline tickets to Minnesota, fly Sun Country, Delta, American, whichever airline you want to fly in on a Thursday. You fly in, you get to the hotel, your room's already set, it's guaranteed. and you're there through the whole convention, and you can fly out Monday, Sunday. There's 2, 3, and 4 day packages that you can book. And
Sweet.
it includes all your taxes. And Bloomington, Minnesota is a convention, one of those convention tax cities. It is 14 point something percent.
Wow.
And I've worked and I've diddled and whittled with the hotel to get them down as far as I could to get these prices for everybody that's coming. So it's like, oh, well, I got a hotel at the Sheraton, double occupancy. I get the pre-convention dinner. I get the platinum pass. I get the swag bag. I get, bing, bang, bing, boom, I mean, whatever else I add into this as I see the money coming in, and you get this package and you don't have to go, oh, great, my credit card is going to be taxed 16 times from Sunday.
Yeah. Well, it's always the way that you're renting the hotel for $199 a night, and then when you get the bill in the morning, it's like, the hell is this?
Right. You get a bill underneath your door in the morning. You're like, okay, I booked it this morning at $99 a night.
Fees and taxes, and next thing you know, it's
going,
$300.
I'm at $139 for one night. What is this nonsense? 14% tax, 16%. I've seen taxes as high as 20% on a room. So I mean, it is crazy when you go to these conventions. And I try to bug some conventioneers that I know. I say, you should do a package deal. Take, all these rooms, and you can sell them. I mean, I've tried to tell this to other conventioneers that sell out, and I'm just like, I don't know why you're not missing this opportunity to make sure that you've got all this down, but
it takes organization. It takes doing it.
Right. And my thing is, once I sell the tickets, I'm going to know your name. You're going to get a special badge on your badge. There's going to be another special badge printed on there to say you're staying at the Sheraton, and they're going to know you're a guest there. So you get extra privileges, like, oh, hey, you're a guest here, so we're going to do Y for you. I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever, this works for me. Because I've been really working hand in hand with this person that sells the stuff, and we're trying to make this the best possible experience for gamers there is without the hassles. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So the only thing I haven't figured out yet is airport transportation. That might change dependent on how many rooms I sell. And if I sell the convention out, there'll probably be airport transportation, so you don't even have to pay a dime from the airport, which is 8 miles away, to the hotel or back. So it's going to be, it's one of those things that you're just going to be like, oh, well, I just got to go out, look for the Sheraton Bloomington shuttle. It's going to take me all the way to the hotel and back, nice. The whole 9 yards. Is sort of a seamless experience, so.
That's nice. I always appreciate a free shuttle. You don't have to pay for a taxi.
The Uber or whatever else. Yeah, Uber or whatever. But I've also, on Thursday, before the convention, I was running myself back and forth between Roseville, Minnesota, and the airport in my expedition. I was being the shuttle service for people. So I was like, oh, hey, you're coming in at this time. I'll be there at 2:00 exactly. If you're there, we'll get in the car. I'll take you down to the hotel. And I went back and I picked up more people, and I just ran a bunch of people myself for free. But it was because I was like, okay, first year I really got to step it up here. So and this next year I plan on doing the same. I mean, it's just now I've got 2 drivers. Actually, I'll have 4 drivers by then for my kids. They'll all have driver's license. I'll be able to like, oh, son number 1, you're 19 years old now. No, you're 20 almost. So guess what? Here's a set of keys. There's a bus, or there's a cargo van, or there's a passenger van. You take that to the airport. We're gonna put Dave Con on the side, and you just run them back and forth all day long. That's your job. So
this is why we have teenagers, is to put them to work eventually.
Hey, You know what my dad called us when we were young? Free labor. I mean, seriously. He'd look at us and go, did you eat my food? Yep. Did you stay in my house? Yep. Oh, yeah. Are you free labor? The answer was, yep.
Your dad and my mother had something in common.
Well, I think
Clearly you have a love for first edition. What was your introduction to the Dungeons and Dragons or role playing games?
my mom again, she went to
The Taskmaster.
the Taskmaster, went to Walden Books and thought I was sitting around the house too much. And she was one of those number one customers at the store for Walden Books, and she saw Dungeons and Dragons and it was recommended. She brought home the box set, the red box set. I read it, brought it to my friend Paul's house. We started playing it. Next thing I knew, here come first edition Dungeons and Dragons, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books. Bang, 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 bang. And then, funny thing is, my mom is not one of these to be trifled with. And so she heard about the satanic panic and, all that nonsense. And my mom went out and she's heard this stuff from a lady friend of hers. And she came home and says, I want to see your Dungeons and Dragons books. And I put the books out there. And she goes, okay, mind if I read these? I'm like, huh? I don't care. So she goes upstairs and she comes back the next morning, hands me my books, and she goes, do you guys play evil characters in this game? I said, no, Mom, we are out there killing devils and demons and anything evil we could possibly get our, kill with our swords and stuff like that. And she goes, okay, hands the books back to me and says, have fun. And I never saw a lady that accused us of satanic worship ever again in our house. That lady never stepped foot in the house ever again. My mom doesn't suffer fools lightly. So that lady was gone.
Yeah, the satanic panic passed me by. And I don't know if you remember Columbia Records and Tapes, where you could you sign up and you got a bunch of albums for free up front. But then you had to buy them, and they would, if you didn't send the thing back, they'd send you the album, and then you had to pay for it.
Right.
And so that's how I got my collection of albums, which was all, AC/DC and
good stuff.
But I had, and you're gonna be like, dude, you got to turn in your rock card. I had Asia. I don't know if you remember Asia.
I had bands that people are like, why did you buy that? And I was like,
with the dragon dancing on the water, and so my mother got somebody, lady at church or something, said something, and so my mother wanted to inspect my album collection, not my D&D collection, but my album collection.
Is she a Tipper Gore person?
I've got AC/DC Highway to Hell in there, right?
Yeah, right.
But she focuses on Asia, which is just mild stuff.
Oh God, that's nothing.
And she wanted to confiscate my Asia album, and I am channeling a used car salesman, trying to talk her out of it. And I'm like, did you read the lyrics? Let's just read the lyrics together. I mean,
oh God.
And meanwhile, I'm thinking
she saw Ozzy Osbourne's album covers or Black Sabbath.
And meanwhile, I'm thinking, like, thank God she's not focused on the AC/DC albums. So that was my brush with the satanic panic. It just kind of was overblown.
Oh yeah, my mom got the Tipper Gore speech too, and my mom just blew him off. She's just like, they're kids. It's my kids are focused. They're not out getting in trouble or anything else. My kids know better. It's just I know the same problem. I mean, my parents thought we were smart enough to do whatever we wanted to do. But anyways, back to Dave Con and stuff like that. Dungeons and Dragons, Starfinder, Star Frontiers. I know you're a Star Frontiers guy. I know I got my buddy down in Virginia. He's coming. He's going to be playing Star Frontiers. I hope that you could come and run a couple games of Star Frontiers yourself. That would be wonderful and excellent, because I love the Star Frontiers game. So it's just one of those offshoots of Dungeons and Dragons, along with Top Secret that I loved as a kid. I played Gangbuster, Top Secret, Star Frontiers once, what's the one? Boot Hill,
and
Dungeons and Dragons.
And Gangbusters.
Yeah, and Gangbusters, and I played all those in my youth. So it was quite growing up in Fargo, North Dakota was there wasn't much to do besides shoveling snow in the wintertime, going to school, and playing Dungeons and Dragons.
No Dak Land.
Huh?
No Dak Land.
Oh yeah, no Dak.
Yeah. My father was stationed in North Dakota.
Oh yeah.
I have vague.
North Dakota, he was in Grand Forks or he was in Mindrot. Mindrot. So.
Yeah, I have the vaguest memories of it. Like I barely remember it.
Well, yeah, you remember the snow and the cold. That's probably the most impressionable parts of it are.
Let's bring it on back and wrap it up. When is Dave Con?
Dave Con is April. Let's see here, Thursday, April 12th. Hold, let me just make sure really quick here on my calendar, so I'm not giving you the wrong dates and times. April. It starts April 13th. It's a Thursday night at 6:00. We have our pre-convention dinner. Gaming starts Friday at 8 a.m. to midnight every night. So 16 hours of fun for Friday and Saturday, and Sunday till 9:00 at night. So 8 to 9.
So this is a gamers convention. No LARP, no cosplay. This is just strictly gaming.
No LARPing, no cosplay, none of the nonsense. If I see anybody walking in, they're either going to be at a vendor's table, which I don't mind. If you want to be dressed in your armor, sitting at a vendor's table, dealing stuff, that's one thing. Running around having sword fights in the middle of the convention, distracting people, no, not going to happen.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with the good wife about setting aside those dates, and because I would like to come and maybe do a live cast from the convention.
I have a room already designated for broadcasting at the convention, which is just outside the 1E room and just down the hall a little bit from the Legends of RPG room. It is I've got a room already set up for podcasters and YouTubers and stuff like that. It's so that there's noise reduction, let's put it that way. And I have a green screen I'll bring, so that will be an easy fit for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a little hectic for the first couple days, but I hope to get some gaming in myself. But I have the ability to go to David Wesley's house. I have the ability to do some of these things that most people don't have the access to. So, and I will. David Wesley and them are going to run some games. Like I said, Mike Carr bringing his Don't Give Up the Ship, and we're going to try to get him to run a celebrity game of B1. And I got Bill Hoyt. Now, here's another one that nobody knows about yet. Bill Hoyt has agreed to run Empire of the Petal Thrones. And if you don't know what that game is, look it up. It's by M.A.R. Barker. It was invented here in Minneapolis, but he's going to run a game or two of that at Dave Con, along with the first campaign. And the first campaign game includes original Dave Arneson
material.
A castle he got from Dave Arneson on a big table. And I've also purchased a sand table for miniature games. So I'm working on details on that, and I'm going to figure out how I get that. That's going to be a logistical thing in itself, that I can get it in so that we can play some sand table games, or possibly some sand table games.
Wow.
So, yeah. So.
The more I hear, I was kind of sold on the app that lets you order food to the very table you're gaming at.
Isn't that sweet? I was just when the lady from the hotel called me and says, "Yeah, I'm working on making this app for the game," and I'm just like,
"Oh,
hallelujah!" I said, because you're going to be able to get your hot dogs, your brats, your hamburgers, and that ordinary stuff right outside the door, right? Convention food, right outside the door, but with the app, you're going to be able to order from the restaurant in the hotel, and they will deliver it. So you can get your fettuccine alfredo with chicken, and you can get your steak tartar, whatever whatever you want to get delivered to the table right there. So it's that's a big bonus for them and for us, because then you're not. I'm trying to bring the total gaming experience to the convention, and you'll be glad to know it's a gamer fuel hotel. It serves Pepsi products, so there will be Mountain Dew galore for those who need the spice to keep themselves going, through the whole gaming thing. So,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to bring other things into. I know like some guys at a place called Fulton Brewery up here in Minnesota, so there'll be some local beers and stuff like that. I'm trying to bring the whole Minnesota flavor in. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the dinner, the pre-convention dinner. We're talking maybe wild rice soup if you've never had it before, walleye, and
I've had walleye.
steak and walleye dinner, surf and turf and stuff like that. So we're working on all of that stuff, and it's just sort of how it is, trying to get anything organized. It's trying to get that done so that people, even with a restricted diet, we're trying to figure out how to make sure it's friendly for even people with restricted diets, because some of us admit have sort of treated our bodies like shit over the years. and we need to look at alternatives when we're eating, and that's sort of the reason why we're trying to have my girlfriend suggested it, that we have like Cobb salads and romaine salads and stuff like that at the convention, so that you're not stuck with artery clogging French fries and hamburgers the entire time or whatever.
Yeah, for 4 days I can clog my arteries with French fries.
Well, I know, but your girlfriend who might be playing might be looking at it going, if I eat that, I'm going to go into a food coma and I won't make the game anymore.
Tammy's down with the Cobb salad.
Right. She'll be done with the Cobb salad or the garden salad or whatever. But that's part of the reason why. And I don't want women. Number one is too, and I want to tell this to the women: don't be afraid to come to DaveCon. This is not a convention where you're going to get harassed, and if you do, please come talk to me. I really think bringing your wives or your girlfriends or whatever, and if you're a woman coming to the game, I think you add flavor to every game. A game does not need to be male centric. I'm just saying that flat out, because my girlfriend loves gaming, and I love having her game, and it's just, she does not bring the male centric. No, she's one of these people that's like, no, let's kill him. Males might go, I don't want to kill him today, but she's like, no, we're gonna go kill him.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I really, and kids are welcome too, but I want the kids to have an adult supervision. You know what I mean? Because I don't care what your age of your kid is and everything else, but there is, at times they get a little squirrely, and I'd like to know that there's an adult there that we can go and say, hey, you need to rein in Billy or Susie or whatever a little bit here, because they're causing too much of a problem. You know what I'm saying? Or they're throwing a temper tantrum or something.
I remember going to Historicon, and there were plenty of kids there, but it never seemed to be a problem. Parents, there's 6,000 people attending the con like that. People tend to keep an eye on their kids, and if they don't, I just didn't witness it.
Right. Well, and I've witnessed it at other cons. I'm just going to say I've witnessed it at other cons, and you see these kids form like 4, 5, 6 kids, and they run around, and it's just like, it's like, rein it back a little. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't need to be looking at, over our shoulders. And all my DMs are kid friendly. They don't hate kids. Matter of fact, like even Ernie's game, they want kids to sit in, because they want the kids to learn these games. And that's the thing, is that we're never going to pass it on to the next generation if we don't have kids. And I made special pricing for kids to come. If you look at the tabletop events, or you can go to davecon.net, you can look at the pricing and stuff like that. So it is advantageous because it is double occupancy. You can bring, you can bring your 16-year-old son or whatever and show him, like my game in Minnesota, I have one of my sons, another guy's son, he's 16 years old. They play at my game, and I've got guys that are in their 60s that are playing in my game up there. So I cover the whole breadth, women, everybody. I don't care who plays in my game, and it's the same with my convention. But as you're disruptive, I'm gonna
you gotta go.
Yeah. You're gonna have to find somewhere else to go game, or find a group that allows your, But I do welcome everybody, and especially women and children, everybody else. I don't care what your race, color, creed, sexual orientation, blah 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 blah. Leave your preconceived hatreds or whatever at the door. Come in, have
fun.
Have fun.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad we got to talk like this face to face instead of over instant messenger like we have been for months now. And and we didn't even give any air to that company there in Lake Geneva. So that was great too.
You mean
yeah. I don't even name them.
The Lake
Don't even name them.
Geneva boat company.
But
I'm trying to think of who you're talking about now.
Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, everybody knows, but I had to make the joke there.
So it's great talking with you, Victor. I am looking forward to Dave Con in 2023. Yep. And this is Tom from Tabletop Gaming and Victor from Dave Con. And our message to you is keep on gaming, and maybe we'll see you at Dave Con.
Yes, sirree.